All right, guys, this video is a main food plot update here. Look at my fall blends for section 4. Absolutely stunning improvements here with just trace minerals. I did not put any P and K in here, just trace minerals. And this ground is absolutely exploding in quality and thickness and tonnage. I mean, this is literally the fastest I've ever seen improvements here. I went from roughly 6 years of work here, and this is only year 2. And this, to me, is growing just as good as section 3 is now. That is scary fast improvements as I've modified how I'm doing things over time. Now, if I'd added P and K fertilizer in here, I mean, granted, some of these little weaker pockets would have been more beneficial, but a good portion of these guys, where this trace mineral has been applied really heavy, it would have probably been way too big, more or on the mature side, because you got to be careful that you just don't send these guys into orbit and make them mature before their time. So right now I've got fantastic growth, fantastic protein compared to any point last year in my fall blends. Way better start. This time last year, this was barren soil waiting for rain. And now this year, and it just rained a little bit today. I would say we got about a 1/4 inch of rain or so, which was desperately needed. And there's another round of rain possibly next week. So cooler temperatures is what I'm hoping for. But right now there's no end in sight until something happens, probably later this month in November, when a sharp cold front can change it for us. Winter peas. This is a new thing that I'm seeing, is these deer not only annihilating my winter peas, but they are rapidly sprouting back up compared to years past. This area here had all kinds of trace minerals dumped into it, and you're not seeing holes in these blades like there was last year. The winter peas also do not have holes in the leaves. The buckwheat looks clean, although there is one little hole in that dying leaf. The buckwheat is past its prime right now and is beginning to seed out, and it may actually do it this year. Some years you'll find out that buckwheat can get that sneaky third wave of seed in, and that's fine. I'll let that seed out for next year. You can see all the butterflies and moths in here. This thing is doing as intended. I mean, right now I've got really good protein levels compared to any past years. I think this area will grow super thick again. I still have surviving deer vetch up here at the top. I also have an area where you can see where I stopped applying trace minerals. So I'm going to show you the difference. Keep in mind, I'm going to take some of this with me. So I'm going to take these guys, which I know have been heavily applied. We're going to move up here to an area that's not. Right in here is where I stopped. Big leaves. Oops. Let me just grab this one. So this is trace minerals. This is not. Several shades darker than this one. It's also thicker build, holds more moisture, and has better nutrients in it than this guy here, who has a deformity toward the end of his growth. There are no deformities on this plant. So this area here is the boundary line where I stopped, and it's basically, it kind of cuts up this way, and none of this here got trace mineral treatment. And I see lighter green all the way up through here. It's growing good, don't get me wrong, but it's not as thick leaved, and it's I would say at least 7 to 10 shades darker as far, or lighter color than a lot of this down here where I applied this really, really heavy. I also applied boron or not boron, but the trace minerals very heavily to about 12 to 15 feet in front of this camera. That way I can draw more deer closer to the camera and get a little bit better pictures. You can see my goal of leaving deer vetch in here, not killing the whole thing off, allowed for a nice regrowth carpet in here, and the deer went to town on it. Now that they've really figured this out, they're hitting it just as hard as my clover plots used to be. I mean, they are flat out destroying this stuff. So good sign. Nutrition's better. I still say I'm a little bit on the acidic side in here. So that'll be something else I can try to improve in this area. I mean, it's just so much better looking. Even up here, there are patches of actually pretty thick growth, like the broader leaves, which means you get better tonnage. And I think some of the powder might have wafted from the wind and carried into here, but I see really promising signs. And I did put, the only trace mineral I did put up here is the sulfur and manganese. And that's one of the reasons why this is even darker than what it really is. So I've actually got it pretty close to being adequate. I still say another 10 pounds, well, 7 to 10 more pounds of application in here will probably get it where it needs to be. So even up here, you can see where I sewed it into the wall, or at least what used to be my screen wall. It's not growing as fast because it's covered up mostly by all this old growth. Now sunlight's hitting it and it's really showing signs it's wanting to take off. Same thing down here. A little bit different strategy because this is a totally different style of planting. You can see where it's coming up through here. I waited about 2 weeks longer to sow it versus this. The big reason I had to wait is because my soybean was still growing and it was so thick in there. I didn't want to take the chance of throwing, 80, 90 pounds of seed out here and lose it because I planted it too early. Now, if you have issues with soybean per se, taking too long to ripen to put your fall blends out, I would highly recommend changing the type of soybean you use and go to something that ripens earlier. Then you can throw out your fall blends in a more timely manner. This Eagle Seed is pushing the limits of my planting. So I have to be careful of that because the healthier this ground gets, the longer this soybean can hold its leaves. And you can still see there's still quite a few plants there holding leaves. These others here got knocked down by the hurricane that come through. I mean, you still see a pretty good standing crop back this way, but you have these flattened out areas here that look a bit matted, but there's tons of pods in here. It looks great, and I think I'm setting myself up very well to try to draw me a shooter in here this year. And on top of that, feed them better nutrition than they've ever gotten in their past. All right, guys, I think this update here, I hope encourages you to do well. Even section 1 up here is actually doing extremely well compared to years past. That fall blend is blowing right up through all them weeds, soybean, no problem. It actually looks a little bit better up there than it does down here right now. But I want to take a little moment here to thank everyone for watching these videos. I hope I have helped you in some form or fashion, and that you start seeing results on your property. And like always, you are more than welcome to post your success in the comments. I do not care. I love to hear that stuff. Also, as this channel grows, I'm getting close to 1,000 subscribers now. I have surpassed the 800 subscriber mark. And for all of you that's been here since really the beginning, I just want to say a big, big thank you for watching these and staying this long. I know some things can get a bit repetitive, but I do have some other plans to try to make the channel a bit more interactive later on. It's just going to take me a little time to set some of that stuff up, or at least think it through better before I start applying some things. I also, as this channel progresses, I hope that you continue to see what hard work can produce if you're willing to have the willpower to not let bad soil deter you from making food plots. That right there, I'm telling you right now, this was a pipe dream. Compared to what I started with, this is an absolute pipe dream. Never thought I could get my soil to look this good and grow something this great. If my grandfather was here, he would be shocked at how I've changed this hillside, because this was literally one of the worst areas on the farm. Now it's probably the best. It's better than my pumpkin patch. So once again, guys, I just want to say a big thank you all for watching these, taking the time. Your comments are greatly appreciated. I do try to respond as quick as I can to those. And as this channel grows, if the comments become more numerous, there may be days where I'm not able to respond as quickly, but I will try my best to respond to your comments. You all have a great day, and I hope you enjoy this video.